Hey, comic book fans, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. And fans, you're with me, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to do countdown episode number 80, 88. Yeah, 88 this week, guys. Yeah, kind of a weird week. We got Christmas going on. We had New Year's coming up this week. I wasn't able to get any of my comics this week. My paychecks get all thrown off this time of year, so finances are a little bit short for me right now, so I was able to read my comics all digitally. However, when it comes to doing a countdown, doing the countdown this way is a little bit more difficult for me. I can't do it the way I want to. So what we're going to do this week is we're going to do a top five and my worst pick of the week. That's what we're going to do, kind of like what I do on the Comic Frontline live show. So this way I can spend some time digitally, at least showing you some artwork and things like that, the way I like to do it. And then hopefully next week we'll get back on track. So with that being said, let's start with this week's countdown. Now altogether I read 13 digital books, but I'm going to show you 6 of them. So that's about half. All right, so the first book that we're going to be talking about was my worst book of the week. And my worst book of the week is probably going to be a series that I'm going to drop physically and probably read digitally from Comic Frontline, because this book is just not worth my $3, $6, $9, $12 a month. It's just not anymore. And that is World's End issue number 12. I've wasted way too much money on this. The title on here on the cover you can see is called Fury War. Definitely not my cup of tea anymore. It's just so far removed from what Tom Taylor has written, and we have this whole thing going on with Darkseid and the Earth being blown up, and we get to see the Furies taking over the Earth. You wind up seeing the Avatars trying to, battle at the same time of all with the Earth. It's just all over the place, and I find it so boring and disinteresting. You get to see all kinds of betrayal between Barda and Fury, and there's things going on in here with Mr. Terrific and Fury. Are they with each other? Are they with not each other? It's just a whole mess. And you got the Huntress that's being possessed in here, and you wind up seeing Power Girl trying to get her to, become herself again. And I just didn't like it. I just don't like it. The only thing that I do like about is that the artwork is decent. I like the artwork in here. It's pretty well drawn. But this series, even though it's a weekly series, the quality is not there. It's a shell of its former self. And I'm hoping for that greatness to come back, but it's not. And so after this issue, I'm truly dropping it. I will be reading it digitally, but I'm not going to be spending money on it anymore. So after reading this particular issue right here, I give this book a 2 out of 5. All right, so that was my worst pick of the week. This time, my number 5 pick of the week, and let me go find it on here, goes to, and this brought back some funny memories. If you guys were around when I was around, I'm 39 years old, going to turn 40 in February. And if you guys know and you're around in the 80s, well, the 80s was all about Garbage Pail Kids. Yes, there's G.I. Joe, Transformers, Gem, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, GoBots. Well, in the 80s, there was also the world-renowned Garbage Pail Kids. These things were insane back in the day. You couldn't get your hands on them. They were so popular. Everyone was collecting them. It was like going to be worth millions of dollars. And it was just so weird why people wanted things that made fun of the Cabbage Patch Kids because they were gross. I think it was because that boys wanted something of that same nature but could make fun of the Cabbage Patch Kid. I don't know. But this was a funny book because it did bring back memories. It's toilet humor. It almost felt morally wrong for me to actually read this book because of some of the stories and the things that they mentioned in this book. And it was hysterical, but I had a blast with it. You know, they have like 3 different stories in here. You know, you got a couple kids going to a Comic-Con convention, and this kid's looking for wacky stickers, and you know, they're making fun of each other in here. There was this one story in here that it's literally called Shitstorm, and if you guys remember Garbage Pail Kids, there was always a duplicate of the same character, but it would have a different name. So it was pretty funny. There was Potty Scotty, and then there was Jason. I think his name is Jason Basin Burster. So these two would have a competition of who could shit the most. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was pretty comical. They get these giant toilet bowls, they wind up sitting on it, and they just wind up going to town. You know, you got it going through the door. It winds up overflowing through the city. I mean, it's all over the place in here, and I'm just sitting there. I'm a dumbass. I'm sitting here laughing at this. I'm like, I can't believe I'm laughing at it, but for some reason I am. Should I be? Shouldn't I be? You know, so there's like this crazy shitstorms going on, and I'm just like, oh my god, the guys are sweating their brains out. I just thought it was just stupid potty humor, no pun intended, but it was crazy stuff in here. Yeah, I enjoyed it. You know, there's all kinds of funny stories. There was also a Superman related story. We had this guy who is a normal kid, and he winds up going to Garbage Pail Earth, and you know, and he's trying to fit in. He has his mom and dad that rescued him. That was a Garbage Pail Kid, and he's trying to fit in Garbage Pail Kid Earth, and he was a normal kid. Yeah, it shows all these classic Garbage Pail Kids that we've known from the cards and stuff like that. So this was a crazy series, and you know, at the end he winds up flying into a garbage can, and he winds up saying, "Wait a minute!" He's like, "I made it into a trash finally. I'm a true Garbage Pail Kid." And I was just sitting here, just laughing my ass off through this whole book. And there was another story about a kid stealing a comic book, and he winds up falling in a pile of crap. Yeah, you know, I'm going on and on about Garbage Pail Kids, but if you want some potty humor, if you want to laugh, yeah, guys, check out Comic Garbage Pail Kid issue number 1 from IDW, and you might laugh. Now, for younger audience out there that are in your 20s, you're not going to know what the hell Garbage Pail Kids. At least I don't think so, and you might not get anything out of it. But for me, I liked it. And that's what came in at number 5. All right, so we're going to go on to number 4 this week. And number 4 goes to a Marvel book. And that book goes to Nova, issue number 25. We can see that right here. Cool cover here. The helmet's on the ground. It's short-circuiting based off of the battle that Nova had last time around with the Incredible Hulk. And it was cool because this is kind of like that perfect jumping on point if you have not read Nova. You know, you get these past experiences of what happened to the past Novas, like Richard Rider and Sam Alexander's father. And then you get to learn a little bit about, or Sam Alexander's father, and then you get to learn a little bit more about Sam Alexander. Artwork is really well done. Jerry Duggan does the writing in this series, and he's one of my other favorite writers this past year as well. And we get to see Sam winds up suffering through a concussion based on his battle with the Hulk, and he winds up meeting up with Steve Rogers in here, and he tells his mom in secretive that he wants to take his son for a little trip, and Sam the whole time winds up you know, thinking that he's in trouble because he's dealing with Steve Rogers and he doesn't know if he's going to be a superhero anymore. He's going to get locked in jail. But he winds up, you know, going on the trip on the Quinjet, and we wind up seeing that what happens is Sam Alexander becomes a reserve Avenger, and it's a great and monumental piece of history for himself. You know, it's something that he'll always remember. But at the same time, he's on probation. And Steve Rogers comes across saying, you know, there's that fine line, Sam Alexander, that you have to, you can't cross. He's like, we give you orders, you got to follow it, but you got to do what's right for mankind as well. So in the same sense, even though he's an Avenger right now, he is reserved. He's on parole, and it's kind of good humor in here because what Marvel's been doing lately is they've been making fun of Hawkeye. It happened in Captain America issue. It's now happening in Nova, where they continue to rag on Hawkeye as he's this reserved Avenger. So some really good, funny, comical stuff. You get to see him obtain the Avengers card, which is really nice. So that was fun. I really enjoyed the issue. It was really well written, really well done. The only thing that draws me down is Marvel continuing to try any way, shape, or form to charge $5 for its comic book. I get that this book had 31 pages of written content, which is just normal from standard 22, but it was just, I kind of just like, really, I'm like, why do we got to get people to spend, $5 on comic books? So yeah, interesting stuff. The way this book ends is you've got Cletus Cassidy looking for Nova at the end. So I'm really on board with that one next to see where it goes from there, because we know now that the access spell has been released. It's been inverted back to the way it was. So everyone is back to normal except for a few characters. But this was a really well done issue. Really enjoyed it. And I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. All right. Next, we're going to go on to number 3. Number 3 is a DC comic, so let me get that up. And the DC comic is... let it load. The suspense is Robin Rises Alpha, issue number 1. Now, this series has really turned it up a notch for me. Not last issue, but the issue before that, Batman and Robin issue number 36, I wasn't fond of. But Batman and Robin issue number 37 was well done, and I thought Robin Rises Alpha was even better, in many ways, because I like the action. I love the artwork in it. I think Adam Kubert's artwork is really well done. Cover is really nice here. We find out in this issue that, yes, like expected, Robin has, or Damian has, superpowers. And where he takes them superpowers after this issue going forward, we're not sure. But it's really good to see these two come back together again. And what's cool is about this issue is that you didn't have to read the last issue of Batman and Robin to find out what's going on. It does a really nice job at recapping what happened in that last issue of Batman and Robin, what Batman did to get Damian back alive again. And it was awesome. And at the beginning of the issue, you wind up seeing Alfred getting all geared up here because you wind up seeing the what's it called? The portal wind up opening up, and you get to see Alfred getting geared up for it. So he's got this freaking big ass machine gun. He's got his hair slicked back. He's ready to go, man. I was like, dude, that's badass right there. I really enjoyed it. Artwork, again, phenomenal by Adam Kubert. These one-page spreads on here were so well done. They were so awesome. You can see him coming through, and Alfred's not expecting the whole group to come back. And again, we get to see everything that happened, how Bruce wound up getting Damian back. You get to see the reuniting between the two once again, which is a very nice page in the issue. We get to see the dialogue, what happens to Bruce as he's passed out. So they did a good job at recapping everything. And then by the time you get like midway through the issue, we wind up seeing Calabac. He winds up coming back again. Another great page of art here, and he doesn't want to take defeat, and that's basically what happens here. And you think he's going to kind of prevail because he kind of kicks ass here. Kind of takes Damian, throws him against the wall. He winds up throwing Batman into the river, and Damian should be really messed up, and he finds out that he's not. And he winds up giving a big clock right there to Calabac and like knocks him out. Cyborg winds up getting online, and they wind up sending him back to Apocalypse. That's what happens at the end of the issue. And we find out that Bruce is like, hey, you know what, Damian, we got to run some tests. We got to figure out what's going on with you. And right away, Damian's like, well, this can't be a bad thing. But again, with great power comes great responsibility. That's what the man behind me has always said. Right there, that guy. So how is Robin gonna handle, these superpowers? And is he gonna try to step on Bruce's shoes going forward? I don't know. We'll see. But I have a feeling that might happen in the future. But it's really good to see these two together. And you notice at the end of that page right there, and it's going to flip, that that Batman and Robin are swinging together, and Robin is flying. So really cool stuff. I love the issue of what it presented to its readers. I love the artwork. And it's good to see these two back together again, and I can't wait to see future stories with them and see what other powers that Damian has. So with that great story, the great artwork, I gotta give this one. I'm gonna give this one a 4.25 stars. This is really close to being 4.5 out of 5 stars. They just spent a lot of time recapping everything. And if you read the last issue of Batman and Robin, you're gonna kind of felt like you read this already. So okay, so going forward now, we're gonna go on to number 2, and number 2 is, it's a Marvel book, so let me find that one, and that one is Hawkeye versus Deadpool, issue number 3. Yeah, guys, this book is funny. I've been turned off by Deadpool, and my friends over at Comic Frontline, Jay and Kat, were telling me, Mike, you got to read it. Jerry Duggan is writing the book. You like his writing, you should like this, because he tones down Deadpool. There's comical moments in here when needed. It's not forced. And if you like Hawkeye, you're going to like these two working together. And the book is not what it says. It's really not Hawkeye versus a Deadpool, really. It's the plot that happens in the particular issue, where we get to see Hawkeye and Deadpool. They're working together because there was someone that was murdered on Halloween that had a specific file, jump drive, that had all the secrets of Agent Shield agents on there, and they were trying to figure out what's recovering, how to recover this jump drive, trying to get these files. And we find out there's these clones being made, not clones, but they're like, I forgot what they actually call them in the issue, but they wind up hypnotizing or brainwashing people, and they wind up using them in battle against Hawkeye and Deadpool or whatnot. And they call themselves I Am a Patriot. It's taken off a page from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where they're brainwashing their brainwashing their people. Where in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. they would say, oh, I do comply. And this one they'll say, I am Patriot. So it's kind of like that similar fashion there. So really close if you read Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Book is really comical at times. The character interactions between Katie Bishop and Deadpool are so comical. In here, in the beginning of this issue, you wind up seeing that Deadpool winds up getting stabbed in the chest, and he's sitting there telling Katie to pull it out, and she's like, "No way! I've never done this before." And it's just, the facial expressions are awesome. She's like, "Oh, ew, I'm not gonna do that." And he's like, "Oh, Katie," she's like, "Ew, don't ever call me that." And he's like, "I'm dying." And she winds up taking it out, and he's like, just like sitting there screaming. And she winds up stabbing him again. There's just funny character moments in here. They have this ongoing thing about them using this transportation that goes around the city, and it's called an Uber car or Uber taxi, and they use that for all their transportational needs. The action scenes in here are really well done between the two. This was a great story, and this time around, again, Hawkeye is actually brainwashed, and they're trying to go after him and trying to find him where he's at. And we wind up seeing that the person that's behind everything that's going on, which was a character I did not expect, was Felicia Hardy, which was Catwoman. I'm sorry, Black Cat. And she's behind this whole thing, and she's trying to get her, name up there and being one of the most respected crime people in the city. So she's behind everything that's going on. But by the time you wind up getting in the end of this issue, we wind up seeing that from Felicia trying to find out these files and what's on these files, Katie Bishop had to use this bazooka and blow up the whole all the electricity and all this stuff. It was great. I had so much fun with this. I am so sad that I didn't read it sooner, but I had the opportunity to read all 3 issues back to back to back. I really enjoyed it. And the next issue is going to be the conclusion to this series. And this is honestly the best Deadpool miniseries that I've read in a very, very long time. It's a legitimate story. It's well written, well done, and I think you guys will enjoy this one. So after reading this one, I gave Hawkeye versus Deadpool #3 a 4.5 out of 5. All right, so in this shortened countdown this week, my #1 pick once again goes to Superior Iron Man, issue #3. This is a well-written book, guys. This book is just... Tom Taylor has taken it to another level of writing. You know, there's books and then there's this book, for me at least. My opinion, obviously, but as a recommendation for you friends to actually read good comics, I recommend Superior Iron Man. This book continues right where it left off. You got to see Daredevil regaining his sight due to Tony Stark's extremis in here, and he gets his eyesight back. Now it's not permanent; it's temporary. But if Daredevil was to join up with Tony Stark, that's what would happen. He would get his eyesight permanently again, and it was really interesting because you get to see Daredevil. You got to imagine the character here, how powerful it is to actually see himself again. And I thought it was ingenious of Tom Taylor to come up with this, of all characters in the Marvel Universe, to come up with Daredevil where he hasn't seen himself. And Taylor made it possible to have himself seen. You know, I don't think it's ever been done in Daredevil comics. I'm not sure, but it's the first time I've read Daredevil where he's actually seen himself. So it was well done, but Daredevil wants nothing to do with it because he feels that Tony has no right to play God, and he argues with him, and Tony's just like, you know what? He's like, I'm done. He's like, I am done playing human. He's like, I have the intellect to do this, so why not? You know, and Tony is so egotistical. He's so full of himself in this series because of the whole Access thing, and he's decided to stay this way now. Based off of the events of Access, you know, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Now, in a lot of ways, Tony is the same as he was when he was back written in the 70s and 80s and the 60s. He drank a lot. He was that playboy. He didn't care. He's very selfish. And he's this way in this series, but he's at a whole nother level. He wants people to worship him. And even if it's included his fellow, you know, peers or whatnot. And when it doesn't go his way, he winds up getting pissed off. He winds up taking a call. He has to stop this teen abomination type of character once again. And we wind up seeing when people are desperate for his help, it doesn't matter who it's going to be. It's going to be villains. It's going to be bad guys, good guys. You can see that here because Team Abomination wants Tony's help of getting back to normal. So really great character interactions in this book, even at the end, because Daredevil makes a call to Foggy Nelson, and he says, you know, I want to meet up with you. And while he still has his eyesight, he makes it a thing to see his best friend. And I thought that was brilliantly done. Just something that one page just added so much to the book because it's just Daredevil hasn't seen at all, you know, and he just wanted to see what his buddy looked like. And I thought that was so well done. So again, great character interactions here between people, between, you know, Tony and Matt, Tony and Team Abomination even, and then Daredevil and Foggy. Very well done, and I love where Tom Taylor is going with this. It'll be interesting to see what he does with Tony in the future after the story arc is over. He wrote Earth 2 phenomenally, and he had how many characters in there? 6, and he all gave him a great identity, and you felt like you were attached to each and every one of them. This is just Tony Stark, and he made Daredevil like oh, you made you feel for Daredevil, what he was going through, how he could see and see his buddy again. It was just so well done. I really, really enjoyed it. So yes, that's what got number one this week. 5 stars from me. I definitely recommend it to you guys to check that out. So guys, even though we didn't have that many books to talk about this week, I still managed to talk about half of them, which is 6, and spent about 25 minutes on them. But it gave me to go a little bit more in depth and not rush as much with these top books. So guys, hopefully you enjoyed this week's countdown. And tell me what was your worst on the list, what your favorite book was of the week, and all that other stuff in between. And guys, until the next comic book review, this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off. Thanks for watching, and don't forget, today is the last day to vote for that wild card round, and tomorrow we're going to get nominations for Comic of the Year. So guys, again, I'll see you in the next comic book review. Take care, fans.